Good evening and welcome to the evening news for today, Friday, August 8, 2014. I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for joining us. In the headlines, thousands flock National Stadium for Guyana Festival. AFC receives response from Granger on no confidence motion. GDF Coast Guard interdicts 9 vessels for breaches of maritime regulations. Police have access to Demerara Harbour Bridge cameras. PNC says it will not support additional funding for Rodney COI, and man killed after falling off trailer at Kokwani. Now for the news in detail. Thousands flocked to Guyana National Stadium for the highly anticipated Guyana Festival, which will see Guyanese showcasing their skills, produce and culture over the next 3 days. Shania Singh was at the event and filed this report.
The inaugural Guyana Festival was earlier this evening officially opened by His Excellency President Donald Ramotar at the Guyana National Stadium, Providence, East Bank, Demerara. Also in attendance were Acting Tourism Minister Irfan Ali, members of the Cabinet and members of the Diplomatic Corps. Just before the speeches, spectators and officials were thrilled by a magnificent display by members of the Guyana Defence Force during the air show. Patrons were left spellbound as paratroopers made their way into the Guyana National Stadium from the sky. Apart from the air show, children were left amazed with the various rides in the Fun City. Exhibitors were also adding the final touches to their booths with the aim of making them eye-catching to the public. This commences a 3-day affair that is expected to draw thousands in attendance. Apart from the exhibition and cultural display, there will be high-energy concerts, cook-offs, crickets and football matches. The event continues tomorrow and Sunday evening. More of the opening can be seen after the news. Shani Singh for the Evening News.
The People's National Congress Reform has said it will reject any attempts made by the government to secure additional funding for the ongoing Walter Rodney Commission of Inquiry, since there is no clear-cut indication that proceedings will come to an end anytime soon. Alexis Rodney reports.
During a press conference on Friday at the party's headquarters, Congress Place Sophia, Party leader David Granger said the government, rather than seeking to ascertain the real issues surrounding Rodney's death, has been using the commission to besmirch the People's National Congress.
It's become, as one person said, something of a soap opera, it's live streaming, and every day people tune into it, just for entertainment purposes, but we're not getting closer to the end. And I support the call, and the PNCR supports the call to have Skip Roberts brought back and put in a stand, and to have Donald Rodney put in a stand, and the Chief of Staff of the GDF at the time put in the stand. This thing could be over in a week.
The Walter Rodney Commission of Inquiry was set up in February of this year to probe the circumstances surrounding the death of WPA co-founder and historian Dr. Walter Anthony Rodney, who met his demise when a bomb exploded in the car he was sitting on the evening of June 13, 1980. President Donald Ramotar, at the commissioning, had indicated that he took steps to set up the 3-member tribunal because of a request made by Rodney's family members. However, the PNCR has claimed that the establishment of the inquiry may have very well be a political move by the People's Progressive Party to tarnish the reputation of the PNCR a few years before the general elections.
The PPPC deliberately waited over 20 years until the onset of local government or general and regional elections to convene the Commission of Inquiry. It now seeks to divert public attention from the prevalent problems of crime, corruption, incompetence, and internal conflict within its own ranks.
The National Assembly in April of this year had approved some $112 million to fund the work of the COI. Concerns were raised recently surrounding the extension of the life of the Commission. The Commission, which was initially granted a 4-month life, was in June extended to September 30 by President Donald Ramotar. PNCR Chairman Basil Williams said government is wasting time since the persons who should be called to take the stand have been given a backseat. He said, too, that he has already advised that the close to US $1 million could have been fueled into areas of interest. Reporting for the Evening News, I'm Alexis Rodney.
In this report, we'll hear that the Guyana Police Force and the management of the Demerara Harbour Bridge are collaborating to share surveillance signals of the bridge. The details in this report.
One day after the Alliance for Change filed a motion of no confidence against the government in the National Assembly, UP News leader David Granger said he had initially raised some concerns about the motion. He said that his concerns were surrounding the skeletal content of the motion.
Well, I asked him to clarify some matters, and they have been clarified.
What were those matters?
Well, the text seemed to be very skeletal, but it seemed that that was deliberate.
10 word.
Well, it seemed to be skeletal to us, and it now appears that it was deliberate.
Granger also reaffirmed his party's commitment to passing the motion. He said that once it is tabled, the APNU's members of parliament will vote in favour of the motion.
APNU Shadow Cabinet on Tuesday examined the letter from the Alliance for Change, and we committed ourselves to supporting the motion.
And have you sent a response to Mr. Patterson?
We have responded to Mr. Patterson, and we
intend
asked whether there was any additional information, but it seems that the information he sent us in the letter dated 1st of August was all. So it's their motion, and we said we'll support it. It's the AFC motion.
The Alliance for Change filed a motion in the National Assembly on Thursday afternoon. The AFC's Vice Chairman Moses Nagamutu had indicated that the motion is a peaceful mechanism for removing a legitimate government, but suggested that there could also be a violent removal. Political observers have questioned the language used by Moses Nagamutu, as he appeared to indicate that a violent removal is also being considered should this one fail. Bisham Mohammed, The Evening News.
Opposition leader David Granger earlier today said that he had initially raised some concerns regarding the no-confidence motion against the ruling government, but those have since been addressed. Let's find out more in this report.
One day after the Alliance for Change filed a motion of no confidence against the government in the National Assembly, APNU's leader David Granger said he had initially raised some concerns about the motion. He said that his concerns were surrounding the skeletal content of the motion.
Well, I asked him to clarify some matters, and they have been clarified.
What were those matters?
Well, the text seemed to be very skeletal, but it seemed that that was deliberate.
10 word.
Well, it seemed to be skeletal to us, and it now appears that it was deliberate.
Granger also reaffirmed his party's commitment to passing the motion. He said that once it is tabled, the APNU's members of parliament will vote in favour of the motion.
APNU Shadow Cabinet on Tuesday examined the letter from the Alliance for Change, and we committed ourselves to supporting the motion.
And have you sent a response to Mr. Patterson?
We have responded to Mr. Patterson, and we asked whether there was any additional information, but it seems that the information he sent us in the letter dated 1st of August was all. So it's their motion, and we said we'll support it. It's the AFC motion.
The Alliance for Change filed a motion in the National Assembly on Thursday afternoon. The AFC's Vice Chairman Moses Nagamutu had indicated that the motion is a peaceful mechanism for removing a legitimate government, but suggested that there could also be a violent removal. Political observers have questioned the language used by Moses Nagamutu, as he appeared to indicate that a violent removal is also being considered should this one fail. Bisham Mohammed, The Evening News.
More news ahead. Stay tuned. This is The Evening News. Welcome back. This is The Evening News on TVG. A joint operation between the Ghana Defence Force Coast Guard and the Ministry of Agriculture Fisheries Division has resulted in the arrest of 9 operators of fishing vessels who have breached the maritime regulations. The operation was carried out along Guyana's coast from Port Georgetown to Anna Regina in the Essequibo on Wednesday last. These vessels were guilty of not having a vessel registration and fishing license on hand, operating a vessel that was not licensed for fishing, having an expired license, and the illegal use of anchor seines. Those found to be operating a vessel that was not licensed for fishing had their fishing lines confiscated, while operators who did not have their license on hand or were in possession of expired licenses received warnings and were instructed to put their affairs in order. The Ministry of Agriculture today hosted a cook-off of locally grown produce as it seeks to promote the use of local products and authenticated Guyanese cuisine. More in this report.
The cook-off competition was held today with all participants displaying their foods at the Agriculture Ministry's compound, Regent Street, Georgetown. According to Agriculture Minister Dr. Leslie Ramsamy, the event is aimed at developing a new culture of having Guyanese cook their meals with as little or no imported ingredients. He noted that the ministry is using the event to promote local produce while at the same time developing the economy.
We support our farmers, we support our agro-processors, and therefore support a development program that creates employment and entrepreneurial opportunity. Every time we use products that are imported into our country, we support employment in other countries, and we make it more difficult for us to develop our own people and our own country, including the fact that we have to spend foreign exchange to bring in food that we can actually grow right here in Guyana.
The minister added that using local produce will create a healthy population. Guyana is currently recognized as a food-secure country. However, Ramsamy noted that he wants the country to be nutritionally secure.
In addition to being food secure, we want to be nutrition secure. That is not only having enough calories to eat, but having all the micronutrients we need and having food that don't contribute to diseases and ill health. We therefore have started a mission and a journey today. We hope you will join us in this mission, and whilst we will have special days to highlight some of these things, it must be an everyday thing.
The Agriculture Minister also disclosed some of the activities which are planned for the upcoming Agriculture Month in October.
The driver of a motor vehicle was on Thursday evening taken into police custody assisting with investigation involving the death of a farmer at Kwakwani Region 10. According to reports received, Imtiaz Hussain was sitting on a rail of a trailer attached to a motor tractor along the roadway at Kwakwani Berbice River when he fell off and was run over by the vehicle. He was pronounced dead on arrival at a Kwakwani hospital. The vehicle along with the trailer was impounded at the Kwakwani police station as investigations continue. More news still ahead. Stay tuned. This is the Evening News. This is the Evening News. Welcome back. An Enmore East Coast Demerara woman was last evening arrested after she allegedly dropped a quantity of cocaine in her home during a search conducted by members of C Division. Devi Prasad, aged 40, of Hope West Enmore East Coast Demerara, was reportedly in the house, and upon seeing the police rank entering her yard, she dropped the illicit substance, which when later weighed amounted to 12 grams. During interrogations, she admitted to the offense of possession of narcotics for the purpose of trafficking. This newscast understands that the woman's sister, Oma Prasad, was recently charged for the said offense. She was caught with a quantity of cannabis. However, Devi Prasad made a court appearance at the Vigilance Magistrate's Court on Friday afternoon and was remanded to prison. His Worship the Mayor of Georgetown, Hamilton Green, said he's convinced that the society is going through a period of dishonor. Jalicia Pinder reports.
Mayor Hamilton Green told media operatives that Guyanese resources are being plundered by unwanted forces. He stated that in a society such as ours, the three branches of governance should maintain a level of integrity if it is to advance. Green stated that Guyanese are being robbed of their own raw materials that are the patrimony of our slave ancestors and our indigenous people, and it should not be extracted and exported without proper regulations and permits in place. He blames the government for allowing this current rape of society.
It is apparent to me that we are in a period of dishonor. A period of dishonor, where our resources, for one thing, are being plundered by aliens. Logs are being extracted inconsistent with a philosophy adumbrated and accepted since in the 60s and the 70s, that our raw material, the patrimony of our slave ancestors and our indigenous people should not be capriciously extracted and exported as raw material, that there should be a secondary industry so that the beneficiaries will be the young people of this country and those whose ancestors toiled in the cane field and the rice fields. That has not happened today. Compliments of this government.
Mayor Hamilton Green stated that City Council will be implementing measures to battle the scourge that continues to affect our society and will demand justice for Guyanese. For the Evening News, Jalicia Pinder.
Following the recent attack on acting town clerk Carol Suba's Duncan Street residence, where unknown persons lobbed a Molotov cocktail or China bomb at the premises on Wednesday morning, rumors have escalated that this may just be a publicity stunt by the town clerk, as she refuted such allegations. When contacted, Suba stated that it was rather ridiculous for persons to make such allegations, since she did not have any reasons for putting her and her family's life in danger. The acting town clerk further related that her home is a wooden and concrete building and could have been more serious if the bomb had exploded. She also said she does not need publicity since they have already made her a Hollywood actress. Investigations into the bombing are still ongoing. Minister of Education Priya Manichand on Thursday commissioned a $22.6 million extension project that will add an additional 6 classrooms to the West Demerara Secondary School. The school currently houses 19 classrooms which accommodate over 600 students. The construction of the 2-story building with 3 classrooms on each flat is expected to be completed in 5 months following a 6-month defects and liability which will commence soon after. Minister Manichand also disclosed that a new secondary school will be constructed at Parfait Harmony by 2016, along with rebuilding of the Zeeburg and St. John's secondary schools as part of the $22 million project. The minister further stated that the project represents yet another move by government to expand substantial funds towards the improvement of Guyana's education sector. Join us after the break for your regional, international and Brit reports. Stay tuned. Welcome back. This is the Evening News. In the region, Jamaica's Health Minister Dr. Fenton Ferguson on Thursday confirmed 2 new cases of the mosquito-borne disease, chikungunya. He told a news conference that the victims had no travel history outside of Jamaica. The new cases bring to 4 the number of persons infected with the virus in Jamaica. Health authorities said that the first 2 cases were of people who had traveled to countries where the chikungunya virus had already been detected. Dr. Ferguson said vector control measures have also been implemented at the commercial office of one of the affected persons, as the Ministry of Health stepped up its activities to help eradicate the mosquito disease, which also spreads dengue. Earlier this week, the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, said the number of new cases of the chikungunya virus in the Caribbean increased by nearly 38,000, with the Dominican Republic having the most cases. Meanwhile, the World Health Organization, the WHO, has declared the Ebola outbreak in West Africa to be an international public health emergency that requires an extraordinary response to stop its spread. The WHO declared similar emergencies for the swine flu pandemic in 2009 and for polio in May. The WHO chief, Dr. Margaret Chan, said the announcement on Friday is a clear call for international solidarity, but acknowledged that many countries would probably not have any Ebola cases. This is the Evening News. We now take a look at your bridge reports. The Demerara Harbour Bridge will be closed to vehicular traffic for a period of 1.5 hours on Saturday, August 9, 2014 at 14 hours 30. And the Burberry Silver Bridge will be closed to road traffic from 14 hours 20 to 16 hours 50 on Saturday, August 9, 2014. Join us after the break for sports, sponsored by Macwalk. This is the Evening News. Welcome back. Now for a look at sport, but first the headlines. Warriors seal win after Samuel stun. Tridents stun Red Steel by 6-9 runs. Paul leads Guyana to third straight victory, and GFF Ordinary Congress to reconvene tomorrow. Of course, the sportcast comes to the kind compliments of Macquarie.
We believe that everything worth building should be built just once. That is why we build on culture, on trust, on integrity. We exist to do more, better, faster, safer. Your success depends on the foundation it's built on. Everything we do is meant to move you forward. Mark on. Let's build Guyana together.
Welcome back. Now for the details. Guyana's chances of copying the double in this year's regional under-19 cricket competition were enhanced on Thursday when another Kemo Paul half-century led them to a third successive win. In a match reduced to 32 overs per innings, Trinidad and Tobago made 163 for 9, to which Guyana replied with 164 for 5 from 28.2 overs, with Paul hitting a solid 74. It was his third consecutive half-century in as many innings in the 50-over tournament, and his superb batting has given Guyanese the confidence of taking championship honours after they copped the three-day title last year. Marlon Samuels cracked a brilliant 100 but could not prevent the Antigua Hawksbills from suffering an 8th consecutive defeat in the Limacol Caribbean Premier League. Set a huge 2-13 to win, the Hawksbills put up a spirited challenge but fell short at 193 for 3, with Samuels hitting 106 off 53 balls and Orlando Peters 67 off 45 in an unfinished partnership of 161. Earlier, Martin Guptill stroked 90, Dinesh Ramdin made 51, and Christopher Barnwell smashed 4 sixes and 37 as the Warriors posted 212 for 5. Let's take a look now at the highlights of the game.
It was a pretty good performance first up. They kept things nice and tight, but Martin Guptill was really keen to get going. Simmons didn't last long. He's been a good tournament player. Cottrell, that was a good catch. The ball was swirling around in this wind, and that was a nice wicket. And then Martin Guptill decided to tee off a little bit. We know that he's so strong straight, so they altered the length and tried to jam him up in the body, and a couple of balls short, a couple of gifts on the leg side as well. This was a situation that he really enjoyed on a flat track. Mohammed Hafiz arrived, squeezed one through the offside to get going, got bounced earlier, got hit on the helmet, got bounced again, hit it up, and it was a good catch by Peters, 40 for 2 at that stage. And the bowling started to go just a little bit astray. This time, Guptill hammered that one, another 60. He was on fire, he was playing shots all over the place. These short boundaries, it's all about the leg side off them when the batsmen look to get carried away as much as they can. That was flat, that was 6. And this is when the ball really started to travel. This was an over that went for 19 from Brad Hogg, and he couldn't do anything right on this sort of surface that favours the batsman. And of course, with just about 60 yards straight, makes it always a challenge. That was really good stuff from Ben Dunk. And it was all about trying to stem this run flow, because at this stage, they were really looking to step on the gas as best they could. That was a 50 for Martin Guptill. And again, an indication of how powerful he is, nice and straight. And then he got one away on the leg side and runs, which is raining all over the place. That was a beautiful shot through the covers. And Ramdin also, this is a nice little century stand between these two. Ramdin also, the captain, bringing up a well-played 50. So at this stage it was right, okay, how many runs can these guys score? Martin Guptill decided to up the ante with a couple of massive blows straight. They would have been talking about getting past that 200 mark, but then the skipper fell for 51. Well caught by Marlon Samuels in the covers. But Guptill was on 90 when he tried to get a bit of an uppercut going, a bit of a wry grin on his face. Slower bouncer in the end picked him up. And then Barnwell, who'd been sitting on the sidelines watching all the work from Martin Guptill, decided, okay, this is my turn. Let me have some fun as well. And he played some beautiful shots. Hit the ball very sweetly, very crisply, and anything just a little bit short. He could rock back and hit on the leg side boundary. And then he dragged one on from Brad Hogg, who was entrusted with bowling the last over, which is a tough call for Marlon Samuels, but he came back nicely. And then Nisham, a little bit of a miss hit there, picked up half a dozen runs. And Brad Hogg had a bit of a smile, and the Warriors, well, they were well pleased with that.
Ends of the Antigua Hawksbills innings. Brilliant effort by Dinesh Ramdin behind the crease. Santoki picking up his first wicket. Then Marlon Samuels, he strode at number 3. Started off a little bit shakily, and then got into stride. This one was a fluky pull shot. Got 4 runs nonetheless. David Hussey started to infuse some confidence before he got bowled. Bottom edge, Nevin Stewart taking his first wicket. And look at this catch. Jimmy Neesham. How about that for a classic Guardian Group catch? It was all Marlon Samuels and Orlando Peters. They both got together and had a brilliant partnership. 161 off 86 deliveries. Shots all round the ground. Marlon Samuels, he was majestic straight down the ground. Lofted shots, even played some nicely square off the wicket. Young Peters produced a career best in his effort. 67 off 45 deliveries, 5 sixes. But Marlon Samuels really stole the show. His power play, his elegance, his class transferred over to Young Peters, and both combined to produce a special partnership. Just 19 runs shy of what was required. In the end, Marlon Samuels threatened to take the game away. Couple sixes. All of 8 sixes from Marlon Samuels. 5 sixes and 4 for Young Peters. Real classy shots all around the ground. On the offside, on the onside. Bringing up the 50 for Young Peters. What an innings it was. This one off Sunil Narain. Very rarely see those sort of shots. He got very innovative as well. What a match we've seen. What stroke play. Marlon Samuels continued in his elegance. Finished with a flourish. Couple boundaries. This one taking him to his 100. The 4th in this Lima called CPL. It was not enough. In the end, he was still disappointed. But what a fantastic match we've seen so far here at Warner Park.
Wave the hand, wave the hand, wave the hand from the Caribbean. Wave the hand, wave the hand, wave the hand from your number 1. From you ready for the competition. You not take intimidation. Woman or man, we have no hand. This is how we play the game. This is how we play. And we gon' represent and show them who we stand for. Let's turn it up and light the flame. Like a flame. If you're not here to give it all, then what you here for? So get up and unite for your team. We'll give the best we've got. Hands up, right up, and play hard. We'll take it to it's how we
every ball, every bat, every pitch, every part, every beat, every wicket, every soul. And the heart and soul and passion, and the culture, Caribbean blood.
It's how we play.
We come out our nation, to the team in a unification. When the stadium ram bleach at the grandstand, and the meaning of beautification.
It's how we play.
Meanwhile, in the other game last evening, the Barbados Tridents defeated the Trinidad and Tobago Red Steel by 69 runs. Raymond Reefer hit 65 not out and Kieran Pollard 34 of 15, and Tridents won 74 for 5 before Jason Holder picked up 4 wickets and Rayad Emrit 3 to dismiss the Red Steel for 105. Here now a look at the highlights of the run chase.
Well, there were some highlights in the innings for the Red Steel. Kevin O'Brien went early, a good catch, one of several good catches for the Tridents. Rayad Emrit already hurt his shoulder earlier in the tournament. There was a lovely shot from Evan Lewis to get off the mark. Brilliant effort by Jeevan Mendes. Couldn't hold on. Don't think anyone would fault him for that. This one was held on though. Dwayne Smith turning back the clock. And Evan Lewis continued on his way. He's had a good tournament in partnership and tandem with skipper Dwayne Bravo. They looked to be restoring the balance of power until Ashley Nurse held a good catch down the third man. He took off late but gave Jason Holder another wicket. The innings was spotted and dotted with good shots, but another good catch, folks. Kieran Pollard pulling off a stunner. Darren Bravo laboured in his innings. Did hit a 6. But he was overshadowed by Nicholas Puran, who hit a couple of lovely 6s down the ground of Shoaib Malik. Did have some fortune though, because Pollard dropped him on the boundary. It's just a little bit of a spell where the Tridents put down a couple of catches. Uncharacteristic given the way that they fielded early. Another 6 for Nicholas Puran. But then the short ball worked. Pollard held on. Riyad Emirates had served up a number of short deliveries at Darren Bravo, and the plan worked. While all that was going on, Puran was going along his way until this. Another short ball. Jeevan Mendes not making a mistake. So went to pieces for a little while there. Raymond Reefer putting down a catch. Then Javon serves. Too much to do at the back end. Neil McKenzie making a contribution, holding the catch. Then Suleiman Ben handing Rampal his solitary wicket of the match. William Perkins in his first match of the season, holding an easy catch. And then Kevon Cooper threatened the boundary. And Jason Holder eliminated that threat. And then Shannon Gabriel, no great reputation with the bat. And he just took one ball from Riyad Emirates to seal the issue for the Barbados Tridents here at Warner Park in St. Kitts. All smiles. Team selection.
Wave the hand, wave the hand, wave the hand from the Caribbean. Wave the hand, wave the hand, wave the hand from your #1. From you ready for the competition. You not take intimidation. Woman or man, we have no hand.
This is how we play the game. This is how we play. And we gon' represent and show them who we stand for. Let's turn it up and light the flame. Like a flame. If you're not here to give it all, then what you here for? So get up and unite for your team. We'll give the best we've got. Hands up, right up, and play hard. We'll take it to the top. It's how we
Every ball, every bat, every pitch, every point, every beat, every wicket, every stone. And the heart and soul and passion, and the culture, Caribbean blood.
It's how we play.
We come out our nation, to the team in a unification. When the stadium ram bleach at the grandstand, and the meaning of beautification.
It's how we play.
Still in cricket, an unbroken partnership of 67 between Joe Root and Jos Buttler helped England build a healthy lead over India before rain interrupted the second day's play of the fourth test at Old Trafford. England appeared to be wobbling when they lost 3 wickets in the space of an hour, including Ian Bell for 58 to fall to 170 for 6 in reply to India's 152. But Root's unbeaten 48 and Buttler's 22 not out helped them to 237 for 6, an 85-run lead before heavy rain stopped play at 14 hours 15. A victory would put Alistair Cook's men 2-1 up in the series going into next week's final test at the Oval. And over in Galle, Kumar Sangakkara's 37th test century piloted Sri Lanka to 252 for 2 by stumps in a rain-affected day 3 of the opening test against Pakistan. Replying to 451, the Sri Lankans closed 199 runs short, with Sangakkara on 102 and Mahela Jayawardena on 55 in a partnership so far worth 108. And finally, the Guyana Football Federation's annual Ordinary Congress will reconvene tomorrow at the Regency Suites from 10 hours. Up for discussion will be the items that were not discussed when the Congress came to an abrupt end, when some disgruntled members filed a no-confidence motion against the President, Christopher Matthias. Among the items will be the filling of 2 vice president positions following the resignation of Ivan Fassad and the suspension of Kali Hercules. And with that, we've come to the end of the sport news, which was sponsored by Marcorp. And that's a wrap as well on the evening news for today, Friday, August 8, 2014. Of course, you can find these and many more stories in tomorrow's edition of the Guyana Times. And here's an invitation to join us on TVG Channel 28 and on Radio Guyana Inc. 89.3 in Essequibo, 89.5 in Georgetown Environs, and 89.7 in Berbice and Unicary, Suriname. Of course, you can also follow all the action in the Lima Call Caribbean Premier League through all these mediums. On behalf of all of us here, I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for watching.